What's up, beautiful souls, beautiful humans? I'm so grateful to be here. You can see we're doing things a little bit different again today. Kind of bouncing around in different environments has, made us know how to adapt, right? So we're doing things from the tablet. I pray that the internet's going to hold up good. This will be the last Winning Wednesday from this location, so our next location should be much better. But hey, you know what? We'll find out. We adapt. That's what we do as human beings. What I want to talk to you about today on this Winning Wednesday is how recovery is an inside job, as well as happiness and peace and success, even. Many times throughout my own active addiction and the many different phases I've been through in my life, I have tried to externally change my circumstances without changing me. And that was what kept me in that cycle of failure. We hear a lot about willpower. We hear a lot about even dieting, and let's talk about 12 steps, and how many times people have had to redo those 12 steps. And the time that we really get those 12 steps is when we bring them inside, when we work on them from the inside out, and not just take the steps, or not just do the diet, or not just do the things that we're being taught to do to accomplish this goal. And I think that there's a time in our life right now in history where we are really beginning to understand this at a deeper level. And fortunately, it comes because we have to get ourselves to the point where we have externally tried every single thing else. And we are broken open totally to the surrender of there's got to be a different answer, a different answer. And in talking about how recovery is an inside job, and learning to change ourselves versus changing our circumstances, we must talk about my favorite subject, and that is how thoughts expand. Whether they are bad or good, thoughts expands. The seed to every action is a thought. And it really comes into our deeper thought processes that are running our lives. We are running on autopilot the majority of the time. And that's where we have to dig down and get to find out what's really blocking us from accomplishing that in which we are going for. So I thank you for being here with me today in this very different space. And I just thank you for, if you're watching from the YouTube channel, thank you. If you're not, please go and subscribe to YouTube, Recovery Soul Food. We're trying to grow that channel, and once this life of mine kind of gets to a little more settled level, we're going to do some special stuff there. I'm teamed up and partnered up with Pamela Topgen from Breakthrough Hypnotherapy, and we really do have some great ideas for how we're going to move forward with this YouTube channel. Going to really dive deeper into the mind, the heart, the body, the subconscious. And that's where all the secrets to change and success and self-love and all the things we're actually looking for in the world live. And that's where we got to go to start that change. So I appreciate it. Go over to hypnobreakthrough.com or Breakthrough Hypnotherapy on YouTube. On Facebook, and make sure that you get in touch with Pamela. Tell her Recovery Soul Food sent you, and you're going to get a free session. So if you guys are ready to get into this Winning Wednesday live with me, LC, and you, the most awesome humans on earth, then let's do it. Maybe. What's up, soul warriors? Okay, so I haven't shared this out or anything because I feel like I'm doing enough right here trying to get all of this done. So I'm going to trust you guys to share it out for me. It'll go where it's supposed to go because the higher power is running this whole thing like it's running us. Good morning, Lisa Goldberg, Pamela Hopsian, Larry Brown, and all of you who I cannot see and who will watch this on a replay. So if we know that the seed to every action is thought, then we have to try to understand how our thoughts really lead our lives. And Pamela and I did a great live on Saturday night, and it's really had me thinking and processing and meditating and praying about, because there were a few people that were talking about that feeling of stuckness. And I know it very well because I was there. I've been there for the past month or so. Just being in a situation when you're out, when your external circumstances really seem to have you frustrated, and you've done all you can do and you really can't move things forward, or you got a big dream and you're doing, what you feel like you can't do anything more to make it happen. And, you just start to get frustrated. Well, the more I've meditated about that and really researched and even prayed about it and talked it over with different friends. I mean, Pamela and I talked about this ourselves. But what I've come to understand is that when we get to that place of frustration, it is because secretly deep down inside of us, we have a fear, a doubt that it can happen for us. And when we get in that frustrated place, we're not really trusting the process. And I know that that happens to us a lot, the active addiction life, because we're used to everything. We need it, and we need it all right now, and we need to escape right now. There's not a lot of waiting, and the waiting, that we have to do on the man who says I'll be 10 minutes. We all know that time. And, that starts to almost marinate and plant itself down into your soul. And sometimes we get into these responses, these trauma responses that we don't even know we are having in our regular lives. And a lot of times that same fear will happen whenever we are moving towards a dream, moving towards a goal, and we are not really seeing the evidence of it. And yet we look at our life and all we can see is the lack of that in which we are wanting so desperately. And see, even in that statement, wanting so desperately, there is a lot of fear and doubt that's involved in that statement. When we're wanting something so desperately, that means that we are purely identified with the lack of that in which we want. And when we're identified with that lack, even though we're saying, I want this goal, we are vibrating out lack. We're vibrating out frustration. And it is a hard process to try to make a hard stop and a right turn, or even a 180 turn to go the opposite way. And I don't think that as human beings, in the way that we work internally, that that's what we're supposed to do. I don't think that we can make a hard emotional stop and turn around the opposite way. But I think we can gradually and generally start to make that turn by beginning to identify when we are standing in that place of lack, when we're standing in that place of being more associated with the lack of achievement of that goal, whatever it may be, recovery, weight loss, healing traumas, whatever it is, because we're all recovering in some way, shape, or other if we are trying to be the best possible version of us. Recovery does not just embody or encompass substance. For me, I feel like I might have started in substance recovery, but the substance just led me to my internal recovery, my healing. And that's what I can thank that whole 22 years for. And so many times in those 22 years, see, we're taught to look externally for us. We're taught about the diets. We're taught about exercise. And I keep saying diets because that was the first time in my life that I actually planted the seed of the belief that I had no willpower. And that belief would drive my life for many, many, many years. And it was during the time that I was very overweight. I needed to lose weight. I had all of my, the people that surrounded me that loved me telling me that I needed to lose weight, making fat jokes and all the things that people that love you but are not really don't understand about true healing, all the things they do to try to motivate someone to be healthier. And so I did all the diets. I did the starving. I did the eating disorders. I did all of the things, and I just kept failing. And I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. I couldn't understand why I did not have willpower to stand up against things that were not healthy for me in my life. But it's because I never looked at what was actually happening. Meaning, I was calming my feelings through food. I was escaping my low self esteem through food. Same with substance. Same with shopping or gambling or whatever it is that you struggle with in your life. We're not really taught to look at the feelings or what that thing is serving in our lives. And until I was able to do that, which it never happened for me in weight, I went to the extreme in the external fixing of things and ended up having a weight loss surgery. And I realized after that weight loss surgery, I was more hopeless than ever. And that weight loss surgery is when my addiction really took root in me because I realized that the weight loss didn't make me happier with me either. Sure, I looked different. I could wear all the things that I had wanted to wear and would dream about wearing. I became attractive to people in my circles, but as far as the inside of me, it did nothing but cause me to be even more hopeless because I thought, if this doesn't work, what's going to work? When am I ever going to be at peace with myself? When am I ever going to be able to be happy? When are these memories and these thoughts of victimization and the lies going to go away if it didn't go away in this? And so I kept using and going deeper and deeper and deeper into harder drugs, more more risky behavior. And see, I think that's the danger in us really continuing to reach outside for what we are marketed to because we're marketed for weight loss. We're marketed for, external things bringing us happiness. And then each time we get a little more empty and a little more empty and a little more empty because that didn't work either. And if that didn't work, what is it going to be next? And my addiction just slowly kept taking these just these roots that kept going so far. And I had given up on myself. That's the actual truth is I had given up on myself way back before the weight loss surgery, before any of this, when I decided I did not have the willpower and I wasn't as good as other people because I remember my grandmother saying, you just have to have the willpower to discipline yourself. My grandfather always talked about discipline, which he would always say I had none. And my grandmother talked about willpower, which again, had none. So I had decided early on that I was a failure because I didn't have the things that the people that I loved and looked up to said that I needed to be a success in this life. Once you decide that, that is the autopilot that is driving that part of your awareness. It's driving that part of your subconscious that moves you through each day. So time you attempt to do something, that pops up and says, oh, remember, you don't have discipline and willpower. So you can either try this and fail and feel worse, or you can not try it at all. Let's just not try it at all and stay safe. That's right, Lisa, that internal dialogue. And that internal dialogue is not trying to be mean to you, it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to protect you from that hurt, that failure. There were so many things that I wanted to do as a young kid, and I let the fact that my gender dysphoria stop me from doing so much. I was a talented athlete, but after Little League, and after those times where I started growing into this body that just kept morphing out on me, and my disgust just kept getting worse, my inside me just kept crawling farther and farther away and deeper down into a shell to where I wanted to play sports, but I didn't. I didn't want people, I thought people could see my weirdness, my difference. And that's with all secrets that we hold in our lives. When you come from a past where you've been abused or raped or anything, we're holding those secrets and we somehow feel like the world can see it. Now, I realized that we have all been brainwashed and programmed by a lot of things, but this is Pride Month. And so I've been watching a lot of different specials about what the LGBTQ community has had to fight through just in this country alone. And it just really drove home this point of how society has been really attempted to be molded into what is right and what is wrong and what's acceptable and what's not. And to find out that just 1969, that being homosexual was a criminal offense, and that being terrorized and beaten was a daily occurrence in the lives of people that could no longer hide who they were, because however we're made inside, our uniqueness wants to come out. And that's what keeps so many of us in unrest, in truly unrest. I used to think I had a medical problem because I never could just settle into a regular, normal life. God knows I tried, because nobody wants to walk against the crowd, because that brings with it a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, in emotional ways and many physical ways. And to see the public service announcements that used to be put across television in the 50s and the 60s and all into the 70s about how unique people were demons and they would harm your children, and just how they knew how to market to fear. It's no wonder that we have a generation of people that still see homosexuality and people's uniqueness as bad and dangerous and wrong. And I'm not saying all this to try to bring up Pride Month. What I'm saying about all of this truly is that we're all have been born unique since the beginning of time. And our uniqueness rises up in us. And through whatever things we have to do to push it down because it maybe doesn't go along with what society says and how programmed society has been, it really just honed in the fact of exactly how programmed we are on a daily basis, even when we don't realize it. This pandemic really brought me to the forefront as well, how we marketed fear to the point where so many people have so much trauma happening in their lives right now, and so much of it is because we are bombarded with fear. And here's the thing. We all have been given these beautiful brains that, if you ask me, come directly from our great creator, our source of all creation. These beautiful brains are the driving system in our lives. And yet, anytime we want to think for ourselves, it comes with a bit of destruction, fear. And we're very quickly told to put that away. That's not the way we do things. Put that away. But yet that thing never goes away. Artists are great sufferers because we're born different and unique, and we have these different likes and dislikes and all of these different things, and we're told to put that away. Put it away. We're highly emotional human beings, and we're told, dry it up. Dry it up. You're too sensitive. You're too fickle. I would talk about my dreams, and my grandma would say that beginning, people say, that's never going to happen. You need to do something sensible. Basically translating into, you need to do something that the world deems successful. But what happens when you do all of that and yet inside you still feel empty? The bottom line is, we've got to get connected with our uniqueness and change that programming to learn that our uniqueness is our superpower. How can we each be expressions of God on earth and yet all act the same, speak the same, talk the same, and live the same? What is the point of that? And all of this unrest in society, in ourselves, different groups, are all people's uniqueness standing up and saying, I will not be silenced anymore. It is be me or be dead. Healing is an internal job, an inside job. And when we truly understand that, and we begin to get stronger within, we begin to fall in love with of who we are, our uniqueness, to start to dive into those places in us that society may want to put back into your, back in the jar. Open the jar of your soul and find out who you are. You can't fall in love with you if you never get to know you. And when those things rise up in you, you feel that sudden knee-jerk need to shut it down. That's the thing. That's the part of you that you need to get to know, to visit. Let it expand within you. See what's emerging from you. Your beauty has yet to be completely seen. I have high hopes for the recovery community because I know that we are people that have gotten to the place where we've exhausted all external possibilities of things we can do. And the drugs no longer work. They're no longer helping us stay peaceful. They're getting us close to not being here on earth. They are stealing everything from us. They are leaving us broken, wide open on the ground so that our superpower of uniqueness can rise up. And unfortunately, we get a little taste of that And then we shut it all down and we start grabbing on to external religions and external programs, and we start trying to make these things like we know. And Pam and I discussed, we as people coming from active addiction don't trust ourselves. So that external thing to hold on to tell we're doing, to give us some kind of map so that we know how to get to the destination recovery. And each time that we fail, so to speak, we have to come back to us. We have to come back to the heart of us and realize that recovery, healing, is an inside job, and that you can change all the external circumstances that you want. It won't last, and it will not fulfill you until you begin to change within you. And then once you do that, you don't have to work so hard on external circumstances. They begin to change with you and your change. And I want to tell you something. That internal change begins with your thought processes. Becoming aware of when you're emotionally feeling off or you're emotionally feeling blissful. Check your thoughts. What's happening in those times? Because you see, emotions are just the ancestors of thought. Our emotions are not what drive us. Our thoughts are what drive emotions. Now, our emotions can produce some thoughts, but our thoughts are the only things that produce emotion, which gives us this amazing key to life, in that if I change my thought processes, I can change my emotions. And I can change my emotional state by changing the thought processes that I focus on. Know without a shadow of a doubt that when you begin this work and these processes of being aware of your thought processes and changing those thought processes, that it will seem like a full-time job, because you will then be becoming aware how much stinking thinking you really got going on. And as I glance over and see comments from Stephanie saying I'm struggling, good morning Joni, and Margie, and thank you Lisa for being so involved here. I thank you so much. I understand that we feel as though we're struggling. And this is a beautiful time to examine how we're feeling about struggle. Thoughts are the seed to every action and emotion. If we're struggling, it's a perfect time for us to take inventory of what we're thinking about our life in that moment. And reaching out and saying I'm struggling is an amazing feat, because it means that we're not holding a secret, that we're not putting on a mask that says, nope, I'm doing fine. When we say we're struggling, we deny the old program of hiding that, and we open ourselves up and we get vulnerable. And we get vulnerable so that we can say, yes, Lisa, that struggle is me fighting me. Where is the thought processes? Are you wanting something you don't have, so therefore you're associated with the lack? Is your soul trying to take you somewhere that your mind is fighting because it wants to keep you safe? Are you staring at a situation and you're so close to it that you can't see a way around it? This is a great time to examine the seeds that we're planting here. because then they take root into our soul as belief systems. And that's where those subconscious things start going and down, and they start running your life in autopilot, and you keep trying, you're consciously trying at things, and you keep not getting to the goal, and you start to take that inside and say, well, I'm a failure, and I don't have willpower, and I don't have discipline, and I'll never make it. In reality, you've got a deep subconscious program happening in there, and with help and work, you can expose it and move it out. We got a lot of things to do because it's been a long time that we have been fed how we've been fed the word freedom, but not the actions of freedom. And now that we're in this place of moving into a more conscious lifestyle, a conscious being as an expression of God on earth in physical form, got to get closer to that knowing. We got to learn to accept that knowing versus the external the acceptance of I'm just nobody. I'm just nobody. I'm not powerful. I don't have anything. It's all something external from me. But no, this is the time that we turn around and come to find out that we hold the power to create our life. And that when we know the formula, we can create a life that we love. Our uniqueness is our superpower. Be your beautiful self today, regardless of what that means. Just be you today. You deserve to be you. I want to thank all of you for being here and for being so active here in the chat, for reaching out to our sister who is struggling. And like Pamela said, vulnerability is stronger than hiding, because yes, it is. And we know the cliche of we're only as sick as our secrets. And when we have no secrets, we can walk free in the world and walk free in the way to get to our healing. And so I just want to thank all of you for being here with me, and for everyone who will watch this on a replay for whatever time this comes into your reality is the perfect time in your life to be able to ingest these things. And I want to say to people in young recovery, like our beautiful friend Stephanie, this is a great place to be in early recovery, because you don't have to waste a lot of years trying a bunch of old programs that don't work. You get inside of you and you start healing from the inside, I guarantee your outside world will change. Examine the thoughts that you think, examine the emotions you have about you and your possibilities, and start there. Be sure to have great support. Be sure to be surrounded by many different resources. Do not just go for one. Have this and this and this and this. Create your own program that feeds your soul, every part of you. Everything doesn't have to involve recovery language or substance use language in order to be recovery. Your drug use or substance use or habit is not your main issue. Your main source of pain lives so much deeper than that. So don't be afraid to reach out for resources in every area of that. Yes, Brene Brown has an amazing TED Talk about vulnerability. In fact, it was a life-changing TED Talk for me, and I probably have watched it 150 times just in the last 3 years. It's a beautiful resource to have. So listen. We got some good stuff coming up for you guys there on Recovery Soul Food Podcast on Sunday, special Sunday episode on the 20th. We're going to have an amazing, amazing doctor, energy healer. Her name is Marina Costina, Dr. Marina Costina. She is just a lovely energy, just beautiful. She's going to come and talk to us about how energy truly is everything and how we can raise our own vibrations and energy and how we can just recreate ourselves from the inside out. It's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing episode. I'm going to be guesting on a couple different podcasts. So we're Nowhere to Go But Up podcast with Sean Dustin and the High While Clean podcast with Eric McCoy. If you don't know those guys, which I can't believe you don't, but if you don't, um, go check those things out on YouTube. Make sure that you like and subscribe. I mean, we can't get enough conscious recovery resources in our lives. This is a new day of recovery. You are a new creation, and I love you guys, love you guys, love you guys. So, until I see you again, have the most amazing winning Wednesday of your entire life because you choose to. And yes, you are that strong. I'll see y'all next time. Love ya.